Everyone wants to win the lottery, but few people realise that it's sometimes not what it seems to be. It's not always fancy cars, nice clothes or relaxing holidays. It can actually ruin your whole life. Today, we're going to be looking at a few lottery winners and discussing what went wrong. Lara and Roger Griffiths. Before they won a $2.7 million lottery jackpot in 2005, Lara and Roger Griffiths of England reportedly never argued. Then they won and bought a $1 million barn, converted house, and a Porsche, not to mention luxurious trips to Dubai, Monaco, and New York City. Media stories say their fortune ended in 2010 when a freak fire gutted their house, which was underinsured, forcing them to shell out for repairs and 7 months of temporary accommodations. Shortly after, there were claims that Roger drove away in the Porsche after Lara confronted him over email suggesting that he was interested in another woman. That ended their 14-year marriage. Martyn and Kay Tott. Martyn Tott, 33, and his 24-year-old wife Kay, from the UK, missed out on a $5 million lottery fortune after losing their ticket. A 7-week investigation by Camelot Group, the company that runs the UK's national lottery, convinced officials their claim to their winning lottery ticket was legitimate. But since there is a 30-day time limit on reporting lost tickets, the company was not required to pay up, and the jackpot became the largest unclaimed amount since the lottery began in 1994. Sharon Tirabassi. In 2004, Sharon Tirabassi, a single mother who had been on welfare, cashed a cheque from the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation for more than 10 million Canadian dollars. She spent her winnings on a big house, fancy cars, designer clothes, lavish parties, exotic trips, handouts to family, loans to friends, and in less than a decade, she was back riding the bus, working part-time, and living in a rented house. Luckily, Sharon put some of her money in trust for her 6 children, who would be able to claim the money when they turned 26. Gerald Muswagon. In 1998, Gerald Muswagon won the $10 million Super 7 jackpot in Canada, but he couldn't handle the instant fame that came with winning the grand prize. According to Canada's Globe and Mail, he bought several new vehicles for himself and friends, purchased a house that turned into a nightly party pad, and often celebrated his new lifestyle with copious amounts of drugs and alcohol. The Globe and Mail reported, in a single day he bought 8 TVs for his friends. Muswagon also poured money into a logging business that failed because of low sales. He was eventually forced to take a job doing heavy lifting on a friend's farm just to make ends meet. According to media reports, Muswagon hanged himself in his parents' garage in 2005. Billy Bob Harrell. A preacher working as a stockboy at Home Depot got his prayers answered when he hit the $31 million Texas jackpot in 1997. At first, life was good, with Billy Bob reportedly quitting his job, travelling to Hawaii, buying a ranch, 6 other houses and new cars. He also donated 480 turkeys to the poor, but like many others who win the lottery, he just couldn't say no when people asked for a handout. He also ran into financial trouble with a company that gave lottery winners lump sums in exchange for their annual checks, but it left him with far less than what he'd won. Media reports from the time say he eventually divorced and died by suicide. Shortly before his death, he told a financial advisor that winning the lottery is the worst thing that ever happened to me. Willie Hurt. In 1989, Willie won a $3.1 million jackpot in the Michigan lottery. 2 years later, Hurt was divorced, lost custody of his children, and was charged with attempted murder. And according to media reports, he also picked up a crack cocaine addiction. Stories from the time say the habit sucked away his entire fortune. Denise Rossi. When Denise Rossi won the $1.3 million jackpot in the California Lotto, she kept the news to herself and abruptly demanded a divorce from her husband Thomas without a word. Thomas was shocked but agreed to divorce her anyway. During the proceedings, Denise continued to keep her good fortune a secret. 2 years later, Thomas intercepted a letter at his new Los Angeles home revealing the truth. He sued Denise for not disclosing her winnings, and the judge awarded Thomas every cent. Even Denise's lawyer admitted to people that Denise could have kept half her winnings if she had been honest with her husband. Meanwhile, Thomas Rossi is enjoying his $48,000 a year payouts. Luke Pittard. Luke Pittard won a £1.3 million jackpot in 2006, but spent almost all of it on a trip to the Canary Islands, a wedding and a house. A year and a half later, Pittard was forced to return to his job at McDonald's. They all think I'm a bit mad, but I tell them there's more to life than money, Pittard told The Telegraph in 2008. I loved working at McDonald's before I became a millionaire, and I'm really enjoying being back there again. Callie Rogers. Callie Rogers was just 16 when she won £1.9 million in the UK's lottery in 2003, and she was too young to know how to manage her money or where it would lead her. After briefly vowing to manage her winnings responsibly, Rogers made quick work of her fortune. She reportedly spent millions on vacations, clothing, cars, breast implants, and according to The Sun, more than $300,000 on cocaine. She also reportedly spent more than $250,000 on a bungalow and a house for her mother. Rogers eventually became a mum of 3, and has said on the record she's teaching them to be careful with money. "I'm glad they'll grow up knowing the value of money," she told The Sun. "I was too young to win the lottery, it nearly broke me, but thankfully, I'm now stronger than ever." Jack Whittaker. In 2002, Jack Whittaker won a $314 million jackpot, which at the time was the biggest lottery prize in history. The West Virginia construction worker, known for his outsized cowboy hats and even bigger personality, remains one of the most extreme, cautionary tales about the lottery's power to ruin lives. Whittaker gave handouts, donated stacks of cash to churches, diner waitresses, family members, strangers, and his local strip club until the money ran out. According to ABC News, his wife left, his house burned down, he got in trouble with the law, lost his daughter to cancer, and a granddaughter to drugs. In 2020, Whittaker died at the age of 72. If you enjoyed this video, check out this one, where we look at killers who showed no remorse.